There's Dominic Breazeale. Dominic, how are you, my man?
Feeling, man.
I'm doing okay, man. First of all, I want to ask you, it's been some time since we've seen you. How are you and your family doing? It's been 2 years. We obviously haven't spoken to you since COVID-19. How's everything going in your world family-wise and, everything else along those lines?
Blessed. We're doing good. COVID hasn't affected my family. Safe, tucked away in our little home there. My wife and kids are doing well. The boxing world is doing great. I can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. I'm just glad that you guys are back and that PBC and boxing is still flourishing under these rather difficult conditions. But thankfully, everyone on my side is healthy. But Dominic, I want to ask you, Otto Wallin, Saturday night, live on Showtime. It has been since May of 2019 that we've watched you step inside the ring. How are you feeling for this?
It's been way too long. I've been out of the ring, like you said, since May of 2019. Tried to get in there last summer. Tried to get in there last fall. I'm fortunate enough to I'll be able to get in there against an opponent like Otto Wallin. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fireworks, man. I think the fans are gonna be in for a good show.
Now, Dominic, PBC came back in August of last year, but what happened? Why weren't you a part of that? Was it a scheduling thing? Was it not the right opponent? I know that you're working with a brand new trainer. What happened, or was it just not the right moment for you to return?
I think it was a little bit of, sorry about that. I think it was a little bit of everything. Scheduling, opponents, me not being in the right fit with trainers, of course, the COVID, not knowing if it's coming or going. I think in life, it's timing, when you get an opponent like Otto pop up, who went to distance with Tyson Fury, you jump all over it. I was excited to hear the name. I was excited to hear the date. I was excited to hear the venue. So I'm more excited now going into this February 20 fight than I was any of the ones that were potentially scheduled last year.
You said that you were bouncing around trainers and everything else, but can you tell us, now you're with Abel Sanchez, how long have you been with Abel, and can you, not really given names, but how many other trainers did you go with, or did you try to, quote-unquote, try out, so to speak, before you settled with Abel?
Probably had about maybe 2-3 different auditions. My last fight was with Virgil Hunter. We were planning on working that out again, but COVID hit pretty hard, and that's far away from home. Anytime you have a situation where you need to get close back to home, you want to be as close as possible. And, the other trainers that were around, it wasn't quite the fit. I didn't want a guy who was going to be trying things new for me. I wanted somebody who was established. And Abel Sanchez ended up being that guy. He's got 42 years of fight experience under his belt, several that he's taken from birth to the championship. And I'm glad I chose this destination. Coming up here to this altitude, coming up here to train, coming here to be a man with experience the way he does, changed a lot of things. Gave me a lot of confidence in my game. I thought I knew a lot about boxing. I feel like when I stepped through the doors, it was like starting from page one again. And I'm glad I did, because we made a lot of corrections, and I'm looking forward to showing it off fight night.
I read on PBC's website an article that dropped today explaining your journey about, coming back, training with Abel. From what I read, the article by Joe Santaquillo is that I felt like he brought a sense of discipline to you, because there was a point in the article where you said, there were times where I'd come in to train before and I'd say I'm not feeling right, or I'm not up to training the way I should, something along those lines, and the trainer would be okay with it. Do you think that Abel brings a discipline to you?
Abel does a great job of bringing discipline to his gym, his organization, the fighters that are in his gym, camp, things like that, as well as myself. There's been several times in the past where, a fighter like myself would say, hey, you know what, I'm not up for training today. And most trainers would push aside and say, it's okay. Let's take the day off, or let's not do as many rounds sparring or whatnot. But in Abel's situation, man, I haven't even thought about bringing up that type of a lame excuse in this house of boxing with Abel. He brings that extra hunger back. He brings that edge. He brings the willingness to be in the gym to learn and be an educated fighter.
I know that you mentioned about your conditioning probably being the best that it's ever been. In terms of training in the altitude, the amount of running you've done, I read that in this article that you ran more per day than what you probably did during an entire training camp leading up to this. What was that like, being able to just get the runs in out there in Big Bear and really pushing yourself?
I think being up here and changing from the altitude down there and up here and training and sparring. The one thing I did lack as a heavyweight, it was always in these shoes. I'm a big guy. I don't need to run type of a deal. I might have ran once, maybe twice, 3 times most in a week. Up here with Abel, it's 6 days a week, no excuse. And every single day, you have no idea if it's 3 miles, 4 miles, 5, 6 miles. He kind of makes it up, and it keeps you on your edge. Keeps you excited about the next morning run. It keeps you not knowing what's going on. But at the same time, man, I think I put in more miles running in this 8-10 week camp that I've been up here than my whole career. And I'm grateful for it because my legs are strong, my body, my core. The idea of having you do core work before doing abs and core work was, well, I want to do it because I want to make sure my midsection looks good. No, up here it's something you do as a norm. It's not. It's like getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth. Well, when you're done brushing your teeth, do your abs too. So, I'm super excited to have been up here in camp. I love the fact that there's no, hey, it's a question. Hey, do you want to run today? No, it's you're running, and it's exactly what we do. So.
Okay, Dominic, are you concerned at all about burning yourself out? Because, there's that fine line, especially, you are 35 years old now, about, making sure that you push yourself, but also not burning yourself out. There's that old adage in prize fighting that you don't want to leave the fight in the gym.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. I was just speaking to one of the other guys that's up here training the other day, and he asked me, how's the body feeling? I said, it's funny, man. I feel a lot better now than I have in any camp before. And if, I didn't have a couple of these gray hairs going on, I tell you, I'm about 25 years old. But yeah, he's taking years off my life. And like I said, I've learned things that I should have learned as the easy, basic, general stuff as a heavyweight back in the day. Abel's got a sign in the gym that says, imagine what if. I've been here 6, 7, maybe going on 8, probably about 8 weeks now consistently. And, I keep thinking to myself, imagine what if I was here a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago. It's a different story. And, I'm going to let everybody make the decision come February 20th. I know for sure I'm victorious. I want to do it in impressive fashion, but I wish I was here a year ago. I'd be a completely different fighter.
So now that you are 35 and you're working with Abel Sanchez, could this be that, a renaissance for you in your career to really make another push towards the heavyweight championship of the world? You've challenged for the title twice now, unsuccessful in both attempts, but no shame to losing Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. But could this be a, reinvigoration for you?
So I keep joking with Abel Sanchez that I'm going to retire here, and I don't care what he says, whether he lets me in the gym or not. I'm definitely back on the climb. For people to say in the beginning when I had my first couple of fights, it's like, here comes trouble. And then finally I got to a point where he said, no, you know what? Trouble's here already, man. Like, I've been here for a while, and yes, I've had 2 defeats and world titles. And like you said, it's no shame to lose to world champions. I've had tough opposition from my opening pro debut all the way through to the title fights. And I'm up for the challenge again. I think I've got my hunger back. I think the time off allowed me to realize that I wasn't done with boxing, that I was just opening the door to the boxing, and now I'm ready to kick the door down and continue to thrive in my career. I think I've got many more years to go. I know I told my wife at one point I'd self-evaluate at 35, and I told her, that at that point I'd look and see where I was in my career. But I think as of right now, I think I'm just getting started, and I'm ready to climb back up the mountain and challenge for the title again.
Since you in 2012, through that fight against Deontay Wilder in May of 2019, you were going pretty consistently over the course of your career. So did this layoff help you out? Did it allow you to heal some injuries? Did it, sort of reignite that love for boxing?
Without a doubt, 100%. It's not that I ever lost it. But you as a fighter, and I'm sure most fighters can understand and make it understanding what's going on is you get into a rhythm, and there's times in your life or in your career that you need to have a shock or have a wrench thrown in there, and I thought that was going to be it when I moved up to Virgil Hunter and up to the Bay Area and got away from my family for the first big realistic camp, and it did help to go up there, but this one has been something that I can't even pinpoint on. There's from the workouts to being around other professional elite athletes, to being away from my family, to wanting to actually get back in the ring. Before fight week, I'd be like, all right, fights on Saturday. man, I woke up Sunday like, yes, I'm 5 days away, 6 days away. Let's do this. Monday I ran probably my best time up here in Big Bear, all because I knew the faster I got back to the gym was the sooner I was going to be able to work out, to go to sleep, to get up and do it again tomorrow. That way, I was that much closer to the fight. So if you want to say that the fire has been relit, man, I have a torch under my butt.
Because you want to, not because it's a part of your daily job, is what it sounds like.
Doing it because I'm enjoying it now. I'm not doing it because I have to, or if I don't, I'm going to look a certain way. I'm doing it because I'm enjoying it.
Well, let's go back a little bit, a couple of years. Last time we saw you in the ring against Deontay Wilder. Can you tell us, for those that didn't read the article on PBC's website, you could check that out, just released today, but not only physically did you have some issues, but also mentally heading into that fight against Deontay Wilder. What happened in that fight, Dominic?
You never want to carry your emotion into the square, and that's what I did. I didn't know it the night of the fight. I didn't know it walking into the arena, but after self-evaluating and looking back at what went wrong or why didn't I follow the game plan, that was it. There was a lot of emotion riled up in what I was doing and how I was going about my game plan, and all I had to do with the distractions outside of the ring and the things leading up to the fight. And the article and the interview I did with Joe, he hit that out real nice. I loved what he did, and kudos to him for listening and understanding the actual and explaining in his article there. But that's something anytime you're distracted from your game plan, as far as fight night or things you want to do in your fight, it's you at that point you've already got your back against the wall.
I understand. Dominic, when you saw after that loss, the reaction from the public and media members, did that upset you? Because you've only lost twice. Joshua Wilder, you're always in exciting fights, win or lose. So I find you to be wickedly entertaining. I think you're a wonderful person. I've worked with you several times before. But did that upset you that people were like, oh, he got knocked out one round? It was what was expected to the odds makers. Did that anger you towards, some fight fans and some media members?
It didn't. I understand that you have individuals who are seriously into boxing, and you have individuals who are, we like to call keyboard warriors. I can't complain. I can't face every single any one of those individuals. At the same time, they're right to have their opinion. It's my job as a professional fighter, as an entertainer, to come back out and let them know that, yes, I lost, but it's not the end of the world. I was able to get back on, get back on a couple of commentary shows with yourself, get back on, PBC's Fox show as well. I continue to move forward. It would have been different if I stopped and beat myself up and didn't do anything, and that was the end of my career. Here I'm getting ready to fight, a completely great challenger in Otto Wallin on February 20th, who went the distance with Tyson Fury. I could have easily just picked somebody who is coming off 3-4 losses and got a tune-up fight. But instead, that wouldn't be what I would want to do as myself, and that wouldn't be just to my fans. I want to give them an exciting fight, and I want to give them entertainment every time I step in the square. To dwell in what fans said or what they're gonna say or gonna do or whatever it may be, that's just not me. It's not my characteristic. And right now, I'm looking forward to flipping those minds of the individuals who thought that I was down and out or that was the end of me.
In articles and in interviews that he's done, that he plans to break those like he can finish you off. What is your response to that?
He's probably not the first heavyweight that's gotten across the ring for myself or signed the contract to say, hey, I'm going to be the end of trouble, or I'm going to be the end of Dominic. That's going to be his way of getting through training, of his way of getting through, the sleepless nights when he's thinking about, damn, 6'7", 255 pounds standing around across the ring from me. You can tell yourself whatever you want to. You can say whatever you want outside the ring. Come fight night, you got to lace him up, get inside the square, and square off against 6'7", 255 pounds with athletic ability and skill.
So, Dominic, assuming everything goes according your way on Saturday against Otto Wallin, have you thought about what could possibly be next? Do you have like a wish list as to what you would like, assuming that you go ahead and handle business against Otto Wallin this upcoming Saturday night, live on Showtime Championship Boxing, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time?
Looking forward to it. Everything goes my way, and I come out victorious. Fans are happy. I'm happy. The whole shebang. Put on a great night of entertainment on Showtime February 20th. I think I'm looking forward to fighting this June, this July, sometime this summer, and I want another tough opposition and an opponent. I know Tyson Fury's got some things locked up with Anthony Joshua. I'd love to be able to get in the ring with somebody that of his stature and things that he's done in the heavyweight game. And if I'm jumping up there too soon, then let me have a guy like Andy Ruiz. So give me somebody who is going to be credible in the heavyweight boxing game and the fans want to see. I don't ever want to get in the ring with somebody who they're going to say, Dominic is supposed to win. That guy's washed up or whatever it may be. I want top opposition every single time I get in the square.
So you thought about the possibility, right, that you're going to be fighting Otto Wallin on Saturday. He took Tyson Fury the distance and gave him some hell in the course of that fight. He gave him some issues for the first half of that fight. If you go out there and you stop Otto Wallin, that you could make more of a case to go ahead and get that fight that you want against the Fury or maybe a rematch down the line with Anthony Joshua. Has that crossed your mind at all, or is it all about just going out and getting the W no matter in what fashion?
No. It definitely crossed my mind, but that was probably the first or second week of camp because I envisioned seeing myself, stopping Otto Wallin on the 20th and moving on to the next big thing. But at the same time, after I cleared that up and stayed focused for the last 6 weeks, Otto Wallin has been the one and only opponent and person in my mind, whether it's shadow boxing, mental imagery, and the whole shebang. Now, don't get me wrong, it's going to be the one and only thing once I land that big right hand or that big left hook, whatever it may be. Otto goes down, he doesn't get up. That's the one thing that's going to be on my mind come victory February 20th is who's next? Tyson Fury, the rematch against Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz. Let's get it started now. Let's get the buzz going and let's make it happen.
Process around surrounding the heavyweight division. You got Fury, you got Joshua, Deontay Wilder's there. You have Povetkin. You have Usyk as well. Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin. How would you assess the current status of the heavyweight division?
Heavyweight division is definitely back. It's definitely something that the boxing world has been tuned into. I'm glad that I'm part of it. I'm glad that my name is being thrown in the hat. At the same time, I want to be one of the top guys, top 4, top 5, whatever it may be. I want to be that guy that's getting a phone call to fight for the title again. Not just a guy that, is considered a 2-time challenger. I want to be preparing my next camp so that I'm fighting for, if not a mandatory, definitely a belt. I think the heavyweight game is something that kind of structures the boxing world. I'm glad that it's back. I'm glad that it's thriving, and I'm glad to be part of it.
And he just came off of a victory, I believe, if I'm correct, a couple months ago against Daniel Dubois. Would a fight against Joe Joyce interest you?
Yeah. Joe Joyce is, he's doing his thing. He's on top of the map right now. We've sparred a couple of times, early in his career, a couple of years ago or whatnot, and he knows what I've got. I know what he's got, type of a deal. But that's something that is definitely of interest to me. Now you're talking about two huge, massive men inside the square. I mean, what better to give people than a true heavyweight fight?
So nice. I mean, for those that have never met you, you are just, aside from boxing, when you're competing and fighting, you're one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. So how do you go from being that nice and that kind of a person to then being in the most dangerous division in all of boxing, wanting to tear somebody's head off? Because for those that don't know, when you sit ringside and I'm hearing those studs, it is almost inhumane. So where do you get that edge from?
Locked up deep down inside me. For some reason, you want to call it another person that comes out when I step through those ropes. I have no idea. I've been told that before. I try to be the gentle giant, the gentleman on the outside of the ring, somebody who you can sit and have a cup of tea and carry a conversation or whatnot. But inside the square, it's all business. I flip the switch and go into that altered beast, and you get what you see. You get a knockout artist. You get a guy who's going to bring pressure. You get a guy who's wanting to impose his will on his opponent.
You're somebody who has a quote-unquote zest for combat. And what I mean by that, I've told you this many times, but for those that are just being able to really get an opportunity to get to know you, but I almost feel like you like to get hit a few times and then it's like, all right, Now I'm getting warmed up again. It's like what I need in the morning. I need to have a cup of coffee before I'm functional. I feel like the same way for you, that you like to get hit a couple of times and then you're like, all right, now I can go about my business inside the ring. How does that even happen?
Yeah, that's a habit I'm trying to get rid of. But yeah, it's proven fight in and fight out. I get touched a couple times and then things get turned up a little bit. I'm trying to avoid that every fight going in. Of course, I'm trying to be the one that's doing all the touching before getting touched. But it wakes up that altered beast. It does something that I don't think any training or any game plan can. I couldn't pinpoint on it. I know that it definitely it lights the fire. It goes from a little lighter to a blowtorch type of a situation. But it's what gets the blood boiling for sure.
So, Dominic, when you're engaged in these toe-to-toe battles and you guys are throwing bombs at each other and he's tagging you a few times, you're blasting away on your opponent, how do you keep your mental focus and just continue to go about and handle your game plan? Do you fight on instinct? Are there things that you see? I mean, how does that happen even when you're going up there and you're in combat like that?
A little bit of everything. I think of boxing as a game of chess. I'm trying to be one or two steps ahead of my opponent. At the same time, there's a lot of situations where you need to just, bite down on your mouthpiece and react. So there's going to be times where I'm setting things up, and there's going to be times that I'm sitting back saying, you know what, listen, hopefully this mouthpiece doesn't pop out of my mouth because I'm about to throw some bombs right now. And that's the case. I don't think you can ever really, I think Tyson said it best. Everybody has a game plan until you get in the ring, get punched in the mouth. That's ultimately the situation. Do I have a plan A, plan B, plan C? Yeah, of course. I focus on plan A a hell of a lot more than plan B because plan B is a distraction from plan A, and I don't have time for that. So when I go in there, I want to execute plan A, and whether that requires me to shove my jab down my opponent's throat or to drop big right hands and left hooks, something like that's going to happen. Either way, I'm versatile, and I've got devastating power in both hands. So something just got to land.
Now, Dominic, this is the first fight within the bubble. No fans are going to be in attendance. You have fought, at Staples Center. You fought at Barclays Center. Raucous crowds. They were going crazy. Have you thought about what it's going to be like fighting at Mohegan Sun due to COVID-19 still here around the world? There are going to be no fans in attendance. What it is going to be like for you on Saturday night against Otto Wallin with no fans in attendance because you're used to the complete antithesis?
Yeah. So I thought about it a lot, I'm fortunate enough to be fighting on Showtime and super excited about it because I understand there's going to be millions of views and people are going to be watching, whether they're in person or if they're sitting on their couch at home at a fight party or whatnot. Either way, I don't think it's going to affect me at all. I'm never really bought into the whole crowd being there, whole shebang. Is it important in the game of boxing? Of course, without a doubt. I'd love for the fans to be there, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to take anything from my game plan.
You're also a very proud family man. What is that like, being able to manage and, delegate, being, a father, and then also being a prize fighter, especially in the heavyweight division?
The thing that I'm kind of down on myself for is my wife and my kids won't be present for this fight. I know they'll be there in spirit. At the same time, they will be watching from home. But my wife and boys, that's what I do it for. My wife's been a great job of staying at home for this camp, and it's been I'm sure it's been hard. If my boys are anything like me, I mean, come on, they call me trouble, right? So I've got 3 little troublemakers running around the house, and my wife's got to keep, she's got to keep her lid on and not go crazy. And believe me, I've heard a couple things here and there. I think my older son D'Angelo's doing a job of helping mom out as well. But it's what I do it for. I'm doing what I do as a professional fighter, as a prize fighter, to leave a legacy, something that my boys can, reflect on and thrive on as well. People always ask me, hey, are your sons going to fight? If they do, they've got one hell of a challenger standing ahead of them, and they've got to get past me before they get themselves in the square, because they've got to learn everything they need to know from myself before they move on to world-renowned trainers and camps and things like that. But I think, as a prize fighter and as a father, sometimes you have to shut it off, if that makes sense. Leave what I got to do inside the gym as well as leave what I've got at home. I can't bring the inflammations or the attitude I use as a father inside my house, inside the boxing gym, because it just doesn't work. Your head trainer is your head trainer. You listen to what he says, and you don't say, well, I've got kids at home. You can't talk to me like that. No, that's not the case. Your trainer knows what he's talking about, and you listen to him inside the gym. Vice versa, I'm the man of the house, and what I say goes inside my house. Unless my wife has something to say for it. Then, listen, she's got a wicked left hook, Ray. I'm telling you, let her get away with anything she needs to.
So did you do anything special for Valentine's Day, Dominic? I know you're away from your family, your wife, and your kids, but did you do anything special for Valentine's Day? Send her some flowers, some jewelry. What did you do?
See, I did better than that. I got a couple hours out of my busy schedule, drove down the mountain, brought my wife some chocolates. I wrote her a beautiful note, a handwritten note that just explained to me how much I value her, how much I love her, and the reason why we are, why we exist and the way our marriage has gone. I mean, me and my wife, we've been together for like 20 years now. We were high school sweethearts. I'm happy enough to have her on my side, and I can't cherish her anymore. I can't speak any more highly of her. We've been married. We've got 3 beautiful boys. She's been through the thick and the thin. When I say as an amateur, not making any money, to a pro, making a little bit of money and working a job, and now, of course, as a successful challenge prize fighter, she's been there through everything. So if anybody knows my story best, it's her. But like I said, I drove down Sunday afternoon after training, or Sunday evening, I have to say. Yeah, Sunday afternoon. And took her out to the beach. Just had a little picnic on the beach. It was just me and her, a little bit of quiet time, something we haven't had a chance to do in probably years, nevertheless, during this COVID thing. But, it just sometimes when you sit back and have a chance to reflect on what we've been through, why we love each other, and what we've developed, that's just enough.
Well, Dominic, what does being a part of PBC mean to you? You turned pro on Showtime, under the guidance of Al Heyman, the advisor that is the mastermind behind Premier Boxing Champions. What has being a part of, PBC meant to Dominic Trouble Breazeale?
PBC, having my advisor and Al Heyman doing everything he's done since my pro debut, it's life. It's without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the opportunities I've had in fighting inside the square, outside the square, calling commentary, the whole shebang. I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky." Well, you have no idea luck. If you want to call it luck, I call it a blessing. I worked my tail off to get where I was as an amateur, where I was as a young pro, where I am now as a prize fighter. Al's been there since the beginning. Whether he told me don't do this, yes, do that, yes, let's try this type of a deal, I'm grateful for it because he's led me in the right direction every step of the way. Premier Boxing has been there since day one. From fighting on the big shows in Vegas to the ones in New York and all over California. I've had a very, very blessed, successful career, and I'm looking forward for more.
And you're very proud of where you're from, Dominic. I mean, every time I see you, very proud of your hometown. Can you elaborate on that? Just sort of, just being so proud and honored of where you're from in California.
Yeah. You have to remember your roots, man. I'm from Southern California, right outside of Los Angeles, in a little small town called Alhambra. It's big now. Born in Glendale, California, but LA is LA, man. Whether you're from East LA, South LA, Central Compton, it's all the same thing. I'm about 15 minutes outside of it, and we grew up in hard times, but we're as the men that we've become, it's your job to get out of a hard time or a hard situation, and that's exactly what I did, and I used boxing as my tool to do so. So to say that I'm from this part or that part, no, I'm from California. I know a lot of friends, family that are still there, some that have moved away and blessed themselves with bigger and better opportunities. But being a Southern California boy, no better place in the world. I apologize in advance if I'm offending anybody, but if you've been to Southern California and you've experienced the way you're supposed to experience it, there's no reason in the world you should leave.
You know what? I'm the opposite. I did leave. I came back up to Chicago because I'm a Chicago boy. I was in LA for 2 years, moved back to Chicago, but nonetheless enjoyed myself when I was out there. But Dominic, Saturday night, Otto Wallin, Showtime Championship Boxing. How's it going down, my man?
February 20th, Showtime Boxing is going to be one hell of a night. I know Adrian Broner's the main event, and when I see him, I'm going to apologize in person because I'm planning to do it every time that I'm on an undercard of something. And that's my job. I'm going to come in there as a big, hardened competitor and put on some leather, man. The first round is going to be something probably like a filler out. And don't get me wrong, if the shot is there, I'm going to take it. But Otto, man, you better be in for some pressure. You better be in for 6'7", 255 pounds in your grill from opening bell to opening bell. And there's no excuses, man. Once the leather lands, it's going to be a wrap. And I'm telling you, this I'm getting a win by knockout. I just can't tell you if it's going to be in the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th, but it's coming.
Well, Dominic, thank you so much for the time. Greatly appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday night. Very excited to call your fight as always. And thank you so much for taking the time out for us right here on Instagram Live for PBC.
Thanks for all the fans that tuned in. I can't wait to put on an amazing performance February 20th this Saturday. Looking forward to it. Trouble's here, y'all.